Kash Patel reveals Diddy's massive $15 million jury corruption scheme, while Pam Bondi opens secret government files. Trial Day 22 against Sean Diddy Combs started quietly, but soon exposed major system flaws. Pam Bondi, the new federal prosecutor, walked into court with intense determination. Wearing dark blue with ice-cold eyes, she brought boxes filled with papers, sound recordings, and financial records. She announced to everyone, "We will show this goes beyond famous person wrongdoing. This represents a massive criminal organization." People gasped loudly when she displayed the first paper showing money transfer records. She stated 15 million American dollars sent to 3 different accounts connected to jury members, judges, and even someone from our own prosecution team. Kash Patel, sitting beside her, nodded seriously. The corruption had infected his own office, but he remained. To finish the job, defense lawyer Mark Agnefold jumped up immediately. He protested, "This attacks character without proper evidence." Pam started playing an audio recording. Diddy's voice filled the room, clearly recognizable, deep and controlling. He said, "Make them vanish or make them wealthy. Use whatever method works. I need this trial destroyed before it starts." She continued in silence. "That's only the start. We possess emails from his money advisor, text messages from fake company bosses, and audio where Mr. Combs personally approves the bribery payments." The judge remained expressionless and let the case continue. The jury listened with wide eyes as Pam brought her first witness. Maria Thompson, a former bookkeeper for one of Diddy's overseas companies. She asked, "Did you process any money transfers ordered directly by Mr. Combs personally?" Maria answered while shaking, "Yes. Millions sent to Belize and Cyprus. Payments disguised as party deposits. But I received orders to change the account books. I understood what it meant, money washing." Pam asked, "Were you ever threatened?" Maria looked down and said, "My son was followed home from school. Man waited outside our house 3 nights straight. They mailed me a photo of his bedroom." The jury turned pale with shock. Pam showed photo evidence including surveillance pictures, anonymous letters, and GPS tracking records. Then came Raymond Washington, Diddy's former security chief, a huge man with broken eyes. She asked, "Did Mr. Combs approve bribes or threats?" Raymond sighed heavily. "Both." He called them choices. Choice A meant pay them. Choice B meant bury them. The courtroom froze completely. He meant it literally. Raymond stared at the ground. "I witnessed a man disappear in 2019. A whistleblower. Never seen again." Agnifilo objected, calling it rumors, but Bondi supported it with flight records. The whistleblower's last email in Diddy's private airplane schedule. Then came the strongest evidence. An encrypted memory drive given by a regretful former business partner. Inside were bribery instructions, complete names of jury members, judge identification codes, and voice recordings from Diddy himself. Pam played another clip where he said, "If this trial becomes public, we all get destroyed. Begin the payments immediately." The judge called for a break. Outside, protesters fought. Some yelled, "Diddy is being set up." Others chanted, "Pam for president." But inside, one thing became obvious. The system was breaking down. And Pam Bondi had her foot pressing on the machinery. The courtroom buzzed with excitement as day 2 began. Headlines had already covered every news station. Pam Bondi exposes Diddy's web of lies. Inside, thick silence fell as Pam Bondi returned to speak. This time she wasn't alone. She brought files, witnesses, and explosive evidence. She began, "Your Honor, the prosecution wants to present new evidence showing a financial conspiracy, witness intimidation acts, and attempted bribery directed at court officers." Gasps echoed through the viewing area. Diddy, sitting beside his main attorney, Marcus Rodriguez, tightened his jaw. Behind him, his co-lawyer Jennifer Park whispered, urgently as they flipped through their case papers. Rodriguez stood quickly, "Objection. These accusations lack foundation and are highly prejudicial." Judge Williams said flatly, "Overruled." Pam Bondi turned to the jury. "Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to witness will change everything you believed about this case." The first slide showed multiple offshore bank accounts linked to fake companies in the Cayman Islands, Panama, and Cyprus. Each account traced back to transactions starting from businesses owned by Diddy's entertainment empire. The total exceeded $47 million. Then came the wire recordings. A recording played where Diddy's voice was unmistakable. "Make sure Patel gets covered. That judge owes me no delays." The courtroom froze. Kash Patel, a once respected federal prosecutor now turned key judicial board member, was involved. Pam Bondi stepped forward. "We have reliable evidence that Mr. Combs, through middlemen, attempted to bribe Mr. Patel with a $5 million offshore transaction to block prosecution efforts." Kash Patel, sitting near the back, looked down. Next, Agent David Torres from the FBI took the witness stand. Following court-approved surveillance, we intercepted encrypted messages between Mr. Combs' legal team and a group of financial operators. It's based in Zurich and Dubai. The purpose was hiding assets and influencing jurors through illegal payments. Bondi delivered the final strike. $15 million. That's the total amount moved across accounts specifically tied to influencing members of this court. Rodriguez objected again. "These wire recordings were obtained without our knowledge." Torres replied calmly, "Incorrect. They were authorized under a joint task force directive signed by Judge Williams herself." The judge didn't flinch. Jennifer Park leaned into Rodriguez. "We need a new strategy. This is bigger than we thought." Bondi brought her next witness, Rebecca Foster, a forensic accountant who tracked the financial moves. Mr. Combs operated a complex network of ghost corporations designed for money laundering. Transfers consistently matched with ongoing investigations or witness subpoenas. The jurors listened carefully as charts and timelines showed the pattern. Then came testimony from Marcus "Big Mike" Johnson, a former business associate of Diddy's. Under immunity, he revealed shocking details. "Sean told me to contact anyone who might testify. Said if they talk, their businesses might disappear. The people could get hurt." The gallery murmured. Bondi pressed on. "Did he specify who?" "Yeah, Maria Thompson, Robert Chen. He said she was a problem." Maria Thompson, a former accountant, had already filed reports on company account irregularities. Her name appeared on every intimidation list when Maria took the stand. Her voice trembled. "After I spoke to federal agents, strange things happened. Cars outside my home, photos of my daughter at school, notes with no names, just pictures." Her testimony was devastating. The jury, visibly shaken, leaned forward in their seats. "My daughter asked me why strange men were always watching us. I had to remove her from school." The courtroom fell into uncomfortable silence. Even Rodriguez looked disturbed. Bondi continued with her presentation, introducing more audio recordings. One featured Diddy instructing his security chief Raymond Washington, "Remind Mrs. Chen, her kids attend private school on a scholarship. That can change, subtle, no threats, just let her feel it." The jurors glanced at each other, stunned. These weren't vague hints, they were orders. Rodriguez tried to question Washington during cross-examination but struggled to maintain control. "Mr. Washington, are you here under a deal?" "Yes, immunity. But I'm telling the truth because I can't carry this burden anymore." Outside the courtroom, reporters swarmed. "Diddy accused of bribery, intimidation, global laundering network," read the CNN headline. Social media exploded. Hashtags justice for Maria and Diddygate began trending worldwide. The court broke for lunch. But the prosecution's momentum didn't slow. In the hallway, Rodriguez pulled his team aside. "We're losing quickly. We need to reconsider plea options." Inside a private room, Bondi reviewed her notes. Michael Thompson, assistant district attorney, leaned in. "Should we offer a new deal?" "Not yet," Bondi said. "Let them worry." Meanwhile, Diddy sat in a holding room surrounded by silence. He stared at the blank wall, the weight of his empire crumbling around him. Back in session, the afternoon brought Dr. Amy Chen, a trauma psychologist. She had interviewed multiple victims. The consistent pattern of severe sleep disorders, anxiety, and relocation confirms targeted psychological distress. This wasn't accidental, this was planned. Then came Robert Chen, a a former business partner. I got phone calls. Then my clients dropped me. I was warned not to testify. Pam Bondi's voice cut through. Was the warning specific? Yeah. Keep quiet or your contracts disappear. They did. The pattern became impossible to deny. The jury saw it. The press saw it. The world saw it. As day 2 ended, Pam Bondi stood outside the courthouse and gave a brief statement. We will not be intimidated. Justice cannot be purchased. This trial is about more than one man's crimes. It's about showing that no one, no matter how wealthy or powerful, is above the law. Inside the defense camp, tension crackled. Rodriguez stared at the files. If they have Patel on record, this is a conspiracy case now. Jennifer Park closed her laptop. This isn't a defense anymore. It's damage. Control. Day 3 approached, and for the first time in his life, Diddy looked like a man trapped by the truth. Day 3 of the trial began under a media storm. Previous day's revelation that Diddy's legal team had attempted to bribe. Jurors and federal officials dominated every headline. Outside the courthouse, protesters held signs demanding accountability, while news trucks lined the street. Inside, tension filled the air as proceedings began. Pam Bondi entered the courtroom with confidence sharpened by a new round of evidence. She introduced the prosecution's next key witness, Rebecca Foster, a forensic accountant for the IRS. Foster had spent more than 8 months analyzing Diddy's financial records and had built a damaging paper trail. Foster approached the stand and displayed a chart detailing more than $47 million in transfers made by Diddy's companies. These transactions, she explained, were routed through 23 offshore accounts across 8 jurisdictions, including the Cayman Islands, Panama, and Cyprus. The timing of the transfers closely matches with federal inquiries and raids. Stepped closer. Were these transfers consistent with lawful business operations? Foster shook her head. No, they lacked documentation, business purpose, and involved shell companies with no actual operations. The jury listened intently as Foster outlined 3 major transfers that occurred within 48 hours of key subpoenas being issued. Screens in the courtroom displayed emails between Diddy and his financial advisor Thomas Maxwell. One email. Read. Move the funds now. Keep them away from the DOJ's hands. Bondi raised her voice. Is this standard behavior for someone with nothing to hide? No, Foster replied. This is financial flight. It's intent to conceal. Rodriguez, Diddy's defense attorney, attempted to undermine Foster during cross-examination. Ms. Foster, don't wealthy clients often use offshore accounts for privacy or tax optimization? Yes, Foster replied, but not under these circumstances. Not with rush transactions, deleted communications, and anonymous beneficiaries. When court resumed after lunch, Bondi called her next witness, Marcus Big Mike Johnson, a former associate of Diddy who had turned state witness in exchange for immunity. He walked into the courtroom flanked by U.S. Marshals. A former insider, Johnson had helped Diddy set up multiple accounts and coordinate the flow of funds. Mr. Johnson, Bondi began, what was your role in Mr. Combs's financial network? I handled logistics, he replied. I helped create LLCs, move cash through crypto wallets, and directed cash drops in major cities. Did Mr. Combs instruct you to do these things? Yes. He always wanted distance between himself and the money. What happened when the federal investigation began? He told me to start clearing the board. That meant dissolving entities, deleting files, scrubbing connections. The courtroom was dead silent. Did he mention witnesses? Bondi asked. Johnson looked down. Yes. He gave me a list, told me to find out who might flip. We were to approach them soft if possible, hard if necessary. Rodriguez stood instantly. Objection, Your Honor? Hearsay. Judge Williams leaned forward. He's testifying to direct conversations. Overruled. Johnson continued. He even asked me to get in touch with someone in the Department of Justice. Kash Patel. Said Patel owed him a favor from back in the day. Low gasp rippled through the courtroom. Pam Bondi nodded toward the gallery. Let the record show that Mr. Patel has been subpoenaed and is under federal investigation for conspiracy and obstruction. The following morning, Agent David Torres returned to the stand. He had led the task force that monitored Diddy's activities for more than a year. Bondi played a clip from a wiretap between Diddy and Patel. "Diddy, make sure the judge knows this." "Doesn't need to go public, Patel. You'll need to make it worth her while." The clip cut off. Murmurs erupted. The judge banged her gavel for silence. Agent Torres Bondi asked, "Did this surveillance yield further criminal activity?" "Yes," he replied. "It led to the discovery of the attempted bribery of jurors and Judge Williams. $15 million was earmarked for this effort, transferred through an art auction house in Zurich as consulting fees." Bondi presented photos of a suitcase of cash recovered during a raid in Miami, accompanied by shipping logs and encrypted communications. The pressure mounted. Rodriguez's defense strategy began to crumble. His objections were frequent, but ineffective. Jennifer Park, Diddy's co-counsel, appeared visibly shaken. During recess, Rodriguez pulled Bondi aside. "Is there any deal left on the table?" Bondi looked him in the eye. "You had your chance. This isn't just about money laundering anymore. This is racketeering, obstruction, witness intimidation. The full weight of the law is coming." Back in session, Bondi introduced her next witness, Dr. Amy Chen, clinical psychologist and victim advocate. Dr. Chen had worked with several witnesses affected by Diddy's intimidation tactics. Her voice was calm, but her words carried weight. These victims suffer from chronic anxiety, insomnia, and PTSD. Several had to relocate their families. One child has developed a stutter from constant stress. She paused, then added, "This is not collateral damage. This is psychological warfare." The jury appeared deeply moved. Juror Patricia Williams, a mother of 3, wiped away tears. Next came Maria Thompson, the star witness. She had been Diddy's in-house accountant and was responsible for maintaining books for several of his subsidiaries. Her testimony had been long awaited. "Ms. Thompson, please describe what happened after you submitted your financial report to federal investigators." She inhaled deeply. "Cars started following me. My 8-year-old daughter asked why the same SUV was outside her school every day. I found pictures in my mailbox of me shopping, driving, even eating lunch. The courtroom was still." "Did you feel safe?" Bondi asked. "No. I moved in with my sister for 2 months. I couldn't sleep. My daughter started wetting the bed again." Rodriguez objected, overly emotional. "No direct link to Mr. Combs." Bondi snapped back. "Your Honor, this was corroborated by Washington's testimony and wiretap recordings. These weren't coincidences. These were coordinated scare tactics." "Overruled," Judge Williams said. As Thompson stepped down from the stand, many jurors couldn't look away. Her testimony had changed something fundamental. Later that afternoon, Raymond Washington, Diddy's former head of security, returned for a second round of questioning. Bondi played another wiretap. Did he tell Thompson to back off, or she'd lose more than her job? Washington understood. "Did you understand what he meant?" Bondi asked. Yes. He wanted her silenced. Rodriguez was out of lifelines. During a hastily convened defense meeting, Park whispered, "The jury believes them. We need to start talking plea." Rodriguez nodded. "We don't have a choice." The day ended with Agent Torres back on the stand, confirming the money trail. "We traced $15 million in attempted bribes. We've identified wire transfers, crypto conversions, and code-named courier drops. All coordinated, all deliberate." Diddy sat in silence. His once proud demeanor now hollow. Outside, Pam Bondi addressed the media. "No one, no matter how rich or famous, is above the law. The evidence is overwhelming. The intimidation was calculated, and the victims deserve justice." The walls were closing in, and everyone in that courtroom knew it. The morning air was thick with anticipation. Word had spread overnight. The Department of Justice had opened a new probe into federal officials suspected of colluding with Diddy's team. Reporters were buzzing about leaked documents, but no one had expected the prosecution's next witness. Christopher Diaz, a former lobbyist turned whistleblower. Bondi approached the stand with a heavy folder. "Mr. Diaz, do you recognize this document?" Diaz adjusted his tie and nodded yes. It's a memo from Diddy's attorney Charles Rodriguez outlining payment logistics to certain unidentified influencers. Bondi raised her eyebrows. Who were these influencers? Members of the jury? A deputy from Judge Williams' office, and two unnamed aides close to Kash Patel. Gasps rippled across the courtroom. Judge Williams stiffened. Bondi wasted no time. She revealed wire transfers from Diddy's shell company Blackstar, holdings to a consulting firm linked to the Swiss-based Fora Foundation. The total $15 million? Why go through Fora? Bondi asked. It's a front, Diaz answered. He disguised bribes as humanitarian grants. It's clean money on paper. By one, Bondi unveiled layers of the scheme. Testimonies followed. Paul Ramsey, a former internal auditor, revealed Diddy personally ordered account deletions, said we needed air gaps, no digital footprints. And next came the bombshell footage from a hidden camera inside a high-end Los Angeles lounge. It showed Rodriguez and co-counsel Jennifer Park exchanging briefcases with an individual later identified as Marshall Vez, a known fixer with ties to international money laundering networks. In the video, Park whispered, "Make sure the jurors get their incentives. We're not losing this case." The defense table went rigid. Judge Williams called for a recess. In chambers, she summoned both legal teams, if any tampering is confirmed. We're looking at federal criminal contempt, and I will not hesitate to disbar the entire defense team. Outside the courtroom, crowds chanted for justice. Back in session, Bondi called a surprise witness, Pamela Chen, an employee at the Zurich art auction house that facilitated the bribe transfers. We processed 2 large art deals totaling $6.7 million, she testified. But no physical art was ever shipped. It was a financial laundering mechanism. Chen presented invoices, internal emails, and customs declarations all forged. Next on the stand was Kevin Brooks. Brooks said, "We used a rotating offshore wallet system. One note in Malta, another in the Seychelles." Bondi turned to the jury. "This is not the behavior of a misunderstood businessman. This is criminal enterprise." Then came the heavy blow. Maria Thompson returned to deliver a sealed envelope inside. A ledger she'd hidden for over a year. Contained handwritten instructions from Diddy to various operatives, including the chilling line, "Don't leave witnesses breathing." As she read it aloud, her voice trembled. "I kept this because I feared no one would believe me without proof." The jury sat in stunned silence. Some wiped away tears, as if scripted for maximum impact. He testified that he was paid $100,000 to sway deliberations and ensure a not guilty verdict. "I was told my kids' school would be unfortunate if I didn't play along," said. Diddy's empire wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing. That evening, Kash Patel, under mounting pressure and investigation, Rodriguez held a late-night press conference, stammering denials. "These accusations are unfounded. We will prove our client's innocence." But as reporters yelled questions about bribes and jury tampering, the defense's credibility unraveled in real time. In the courtroom the next day, threshold, racketeering, bribery, conspiracy, obstruction. Outside headlines screamed the truth. Diddy case explodes into national scandal. Pam Bondi wasn't just prosecuting a celebrity. She was dismantling a corrupt system brick by brick. When court resumed the next morning, the tension had metastasized. Bulletproof vests were visible beneath the blazers of federal marshals. Something had changed overnight. Pam Bondi stood composed, but electric with urgency. "Your Honor, we request to enter a sealed video file into evidence. It contains live surveillance footage obtained under FISA Court Warrant 297B. The footage revealed a luxury penthouse in Miami. Charles Rodriguez, Diddy's lead counsel. The rest goes to the anchor jurors," he muttered to an unknown associate. A murmur ran through the room. Bondi muted the clip and faced the courtroom. "I want a U.S. Marshal on every juror's home by nightfall." Then came a parade of key witnesses. First, Malcolm Reyes, Diddy's former accountant. Reyes described a hidden ledger system named Dragonfly used to obscure illicit payments and blackmail insurance. "Every account had a backup," he said. "That how we recovered the file you're holding now?" Reyes nodded. "Yes. I triggered a dead man's switch the day I fled. The server emailed me everything if I went offline for more than 12 hours. Next was Andre Wallace, a former private security contractor for Diddy. His testimony froze the room. I was told to shadow Kash Patel. They gave me a burner phone, encrypted walkie, and told me to record every conversation. Who told you that? Jennifer, Park, and Marshall. They said Patel was getting too clean. Did you comply? Wallace hesitated until Patel found me. He didn't turn me in. He gave me a choice. And you chose to testify? Bondi asked. Court recessed briefly, and when they returned, file pulled from encrypted cell towers by the NSA. It captured Diddy in a secure call with an unnamed foreign official. I want full immunity if this blows back. Patel, Bondi. They don't know how deep this goes. Make sure Pam sees that footage. Kash Patel's jaw tightened. He'd remained calm until now. Bondi finished with clarity and fire. Your Honor, these are not the mistakes of a man under pressure. These are calculated acts of systemic corruption. Total confirmed bribe value exceeds $15 million. The jurors, the judge's staff, the financial institutions all infiltrated. Judge Williams broke. The silence? I will be issuing warrants for Charles Rodriguez and Jennifer Park, effective immediately. This court will reconvene under a federal RICO injunction. Outside the courthouse, news vans trembled under satellite dishes. Crowds pushed against barricades. The once untouchable empire of Sean Diddy Combs teetered on the edge of implosion. As Bondi and Patel walked side by side from the courtroom, a reporter shouted, "Is this the end of Diddy's reign?" Pam didn't stop walking, but she smiled. The courtroom was hushed as the final day of testimony began. The judge's bench gleamed under artificial light, flanked by armed U.S. Marshals. The jurors, visibly tense, clutched their notepads with white knuckles. There was no doubt this was more than a trial. It was a reckoning. Pam Bondi opened. We call our final rebuttal witness, Ella Clooney. A collective gasp. The daughter of George and Amal Clooney took the stand. Though only a teenager, her composure rivaled any adult. My father hid everything from us to keep us safe, she said. But I found the emails. I saw the videos. I knew. It wasn't just about him anymore, it was about all of us. She described the night she and her twin brother Alexander were abducted. We were told not to scream. The man who gave those orders? Ella pointed directly at Sean Combs. It was him. He watched. In front of my husband, then forced me to retract my claim. I had no choice. She turned to the jury. Diddy made us all prisoners. Bondi's closing arguments painted a searing image of systemic evil. She detailed the $15 million in bribes, the offshore laundering schemes, the coordinated witness intimidation that paralyzed multiple investigations. These weren't isolated incidents. This was a machine, and the machine ran on fear, money, and silence. Then came Kash Patel, reserved until now. His closing was short but volcanic. You may wonder why justice took so long. The answer's simple. No one wanted to see what was right in front of them. But the truth never dies. It only waits. Judge Williams adjourned for jury deliberation. 5 hours later, the verdict came. On all counts of racketeering, bribery, witness tampering, money laundering, and sexual exploitation, the jury finds the defendant, Sean Combs, guilty. Gasps, sobs, and then silence. Judge Williams turned to Diddy. You built a kingdom of silence. Today, that kingdom falls. Sentencing is scheduled for 30 days from now. Till then, you are remanded without bail. Pam Bondi placed a hand on Kash Patel's shoulder. Outside, thunder cracked. But the world had only just begun to reckon with the rot beneath its glimmering surfaces.